Hi guys, do you want to know how to make a super tough animation like this one right here in Alight Motion? Well, in this tutorial, I'll show you how to do that, and I'll also include how to do basic movement and graphs, parenting layers, effects, overlays and lighting, how to crop out the Alight Motion watermark, and also all the timestamps will be in the description. First, you're going to want to open up Alight Motion and click the plus button at the bottom. Here you can choose your composition size, name your project, change the resolution, frame rate, and background. Usually I keep everything to standard settings, the only thing I change is the composition size depending on what I'm editing. Now that we have a project, you're going to click Media and add all your layers. Make sure to separate your layers into parts like this. The more layers you have, the more movement you'll be able to create, and as a result, the smoother your animation will be. I use Procreate to separate my layers, then export them to my camera roll with a transparent background. You can also use Ibis Paint though, because that's a free option, but both are great. To make the layers last longer in your timeline, click the layer to select, then hold and drag the arrow at the end. Then you can select the rest of your layers by holding next to the eye icon and clicking all the layers you want to select, and once they're selected, they'll turn green. Then you can use this bar at the bottom to lengthen, cut, or move the layer along the timeline. Now I'm making sure all my layers are selected and repositioning all of them uniformly by dragging my finger on the screen. Now, if you want to be more organized, you can name your layers by clicking on them, then clicking on the text box in the top right. I'm pretty lazy, so usually I just name the layers I'll be using as parents, which I'll get into that in a second. Now I'm going to go over quickly layer parenting. Parent layers are used when you want another layer to move alongside a parent layer. So for example here, I have Timmy in his lollipop, and then I have his parent, and I want Timmy to move along with his parent, so I'm going to parent him to the parent layer by going up here, and then parenting there. And now wherever I move this fella, Timmy moves along with him. So now I'm going to parent all the layers that I want to move along with the head to the head, and the layers I want to move with the torso to the torso. So for the head, I'm going to parent the ears, eyes, mouth, and eyebrows all to the head, and for the torso, I'm going to parent both arms to that. Now it's time for the actual movement. First, I'm going to start with the movement of my face layer, and I want it to move down on beat, so first I'll add a keyframe at the beginning where I want the movement to start from. Then I'm going to go to the end and add another keyframe where I want the movement to end. So for my last keyframe, I'm going to move the face down a little bit. That way, once I add my graph, the head will move back and forth, up and down. Now I'm going to quickly go over some basic graphs. Here we have basic movement with no graphs, and to be honest, it looks pretty bland. Now, here's the same keyframes, but with a ease graph in the middle. Wow, that looks so much tougher. Awesome. Now, here's a quick example of what some of the basic movement graphs look like on Alight Motion. Now, we're ready to implement these graphs to our tweening animation. When choosing the graph for my animation, usually if you're using a TikTok audio or trying to make it edit, you want your character to move on beat. So usually to help me, I mark the beats on my timeline. I do this by pressing the top of the timeline right here, and I play through the audio and tap on each beat. This helps me figure out how many beats there are and how many peaks my graph should have, or the frequency of the graph. You can also adjust the graph here by moving the white and yellow dots. Now that I have the face moving how I want, I'm going to copy the graph by going here, then copy, and then I'll be able to paste this exact graph onto other layers. That way all the movement has the same graph, it's all synced up and on beat. The next thing I'm going to be going over is pivot points. Pivot points, it's kind of self-explanatory. It's the point that an object pivots around. So for example, if I have the pivot point of the ear right here and I try to rotate it, it'll rotate around that point. Then if I switch it and move it over here, then it'll rotate around that one. And then over here, around this one. So since I want my ear to move along with my head and look natural, I'm going to put the pivot point right here and move it up and down. Now I'm going to edit the arms, and I want to make them swing a little bit, so once again I'm going to change the pivot point, and then I'm going to add my graph, and since I want them arms to swing at twice the speed of how fast the head moves, I'm going to copy and paste the graph, but I'm just going to change the frequency to half as fast as the face moves. Now I'm doing the exact same thing with the other arm, and just copy and pasting the exact same graph. Now that we finished the arm movement, now I want to give my face some extra motion. So to make it look more bouncy, I'm going to add an effect called Scale Assist. Scale Assist is probably my most used effect, and I feel like it makes my animations look more bouncy and more cohesive. So here's how it looks like on a static circle. With the pivot point in the middle, and if I change the intensity of the scale, it'll make it kind of squish around that pivot point there. And then usually I move the pivot point to the bottom, so it looks like a circle is squishing down. Now, let's apply that Scale Assist effect to our face layer. So I've added the Scale Assist effect. Now I'm going to make sure the first keyframe has no extra scale, so I'm going to leave it at 100%. for the keyframe. Then I'm going to go to the end of the layer on the timeline, and I'm going to add my second keyframe, and I'm going to increase the intensity of the scale, just however much you want. Usually I only do a little bit, like 7%, but it's totally up to you. Now I'm going to paste in the exact same graph from earlier, from when I did the first face movement where it goes up and down. That way, on beat, the face not only just goes down, but it also squishes. Now that we've done that, and it looks pretty good, I want to make the whole head sway a little bit, so I'm going to move the pivot point for the head to the bottom. Now I'm going to go into the rotate section, right here, and I'm going to put a keyframe at the beginning and end, where I want my head to sway back and forth from. Now I'm going to copy and paste the same graph I used for the swaying hands and paste it for the head as well. Now I'm going to go to the beginning of my timeline, press the play button, and preview what I have so far. Wow, this is looking so tough.
Comment Lil Timmy if you made it this far.
Now that I'm done editing everything separately, I'm going to go ahead and group all my layers just to be more organized so I can apply some effects to the character as a whole. I only group my layers once I know I'm done editing them individually, just because once I group, it's a little bit hard to go back and edit the individual layers. Now I want to make his whole body squish a little bit on beat, so I'm going to add another scale assist effect. But first, I'm going to make the pivot point at the bottom, that way his whole body squishes down. So once again, adding those keyframes, and then I'm going to copy and paste the exact same graph I used for the scale assist effect on the face. Now that I've added all the movement I want to preview without lag, so I'm going to go to the export button up here. Wow, this is very tough. Now that's pretty much it for a basic tweening animation, but here's some extra effects that I use pretty frequently. Another quick tip is that you can actually import your own fonts into Alight Motion. This is what I usually do when I can't find a font on Alight Motion that suits what I'm editing, so I usually go on Font Space and import fonts that way. Now I'm going to quickly go over some extra shadow and lighting effects just to make your edit look a little more cohesive. So one thing you can do, if you don't know how to fill up that extra space on your edit, you can duplicate your layer. Then I invert it horizontally, and then I lower the opacity. That way it kind of looks like a reflection on the ground. And you can also use the skew area to move it around. You can also go to color fill and make it black, then lower the opacity and add a blur effect to make it look like a shadow. Another thing is, if you want to add more lighting into your animation, you can also go on Pinterest and look up lighting overlays. Here you'll find a lot of different options, and for example, if the animation has an outside setting, sometimes I'll add like a sun effect. I'll use the advanced chroma key effect to get rid of the black background, and then I'll go to blending and opacity, and then I'll choose lighten layer. Then it looks like sunlight is hitting my animation. For the final part of this tutorial, I'll be showing you guys how to crop out the Alight Motion watermark. So first, you're going to put the watermark at the top of your video, export and save that. Then you're going to do the exact same thing, but put the watermark at the bottom. That way you should have two identical videos, one with the watermark at the top and the other with a watermark at the bottom. Then you're going to open up CapCut and put in both your videos. On one of them, you're going to go to the option and click Overlay. Then on that, you're going to click Mask and then the mirror option. Then you're going to move the mirror to where your watermark is, and it should remove it. Thank you so much for watching to the end of my YouTube video. I hope that tutorial was helpful and covered some things that you might have been curious about or helped you make your first tweening animation on Alight Motion. I also have a Discord server if anyone wants to join. I also post animation memes and other stuff on TikTok and Instagram, and I also stream on Twitch and TikTok as well. So if you want to follow me on any of those, they'll also be linked below, as well as some other tutorials that cover other things that I didn't get to in this video. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you want, or leave a comment below if there's any other videos you would like to make, or once again, if you have any questions. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys all have a super tough day, and thanks again for watching.